First of all, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a safe and wonderful holiday break, or, even if you were working like I was, I hope you guys had to spend time with family at least for a little bit and really bring in the new year on the right foot. And obviously with the new year, we obviously hear all those New Year's resolutions and all those new year posts, all those wonderful things that we love to see flooded on our Facebook timelines. But with that, it made me want to bring in someone who can really give us some insight into maybe a field or an area that you might not think needs to really have some light shed on it. But the cybersecurity world is very clouded, and it's hard to really see what exactly is the dangers approaching. And we can really see now how hackers are really making a strong impact in our society, either good or bad, and how they really are the ones that are trying to shape this new cyber era, if you want to call it. And maybe, hey, that could be the year of 2017, the cyber era. And with that, so I just wanted to bring on a guest who could maybe help you with another resolution if maybe you're trying to add to your list of resolutions. Maybe he could give you some tips on how to avoid hackers getting into your information and really making your 2017 a little more difficult. So the first time that we did this, I had technical difficulties, and my graphics card was shot, and I ended up losing my interview. But luckily enough, he contacted me, he wanted to do it again, and I really appreciate it. So without further ado, Director Pat Craven.
Thanks for having me back.
No, yes, again, thank you for coming back.
I find the irony, here we are going to talk about technology and safety and things like that.
And what failed my technology?
And you failed.
I failed miserably. Now I know I got to back it up.
We'll start the session talking about backups.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If we can start about backups. So I just wanted to jump right into it. You're the director for the Center of Cyber Safety and Education, which is formerly ISC Squared, but it's still under the same it's the same company. You guys just decided to change the name, as if I'm getting that right?
Yeah, we are the charitable foundation of ISC Squared. So we were called the ISC Squared Foundation, which wasn't a real creative marketing kind of name, and so we simply changed the name around in our effort to reach out to the community more. I found when I got to the center just a year ago that it took me 20 minutes to first explain what ISC Squared is to the general public. I never got a chance to talk to them about all the great things we're doing to try to keep people safe on the internet. And so we changed it around from purely a marketing standpoint in order to be able to reach out to people. So the Center for Cyber Safety and Education kind of says what we're doing.
Yeah, it definitely encompasses everything.
Yeah, but we're still part of ISC Squared, and ISC Squared is the world's largest
and it's internet security certification or certificate.
They do the certifications for cybersecurity professionals. Mm-hmm. So if you ever use a CPA or a financial planner or an attorney, even they've been to school, they've had to pass tests, bar exams, and other exams like that, and then they have to do continuing education. That's what ISC Squared does for cybersecurity professionals around the world. Mm-hmm. I think there are about 120,000 members now, 160 countries.
Yeah, I saw you guys have bases in Hong Kong and around the world. I saw one in Brazil as well. I think it's São Paulo.
Yeah. We've got offices now that we were reaching out with, actually, quote, local mm-hmm. offices in London, D.C., Hong Kong, Brazil, mm-hmm. Because that's where the members are. And so we're trying to reach out and try to help and serve them.
Cool. So I just want to learn, just because I don't think I did a good job last time of this, I just wanted to get some, key phrases or key words out of the way. So hacker, if we could just real quick, a hacker is someone who just looks into stealing cyber information.
Yeah.
And we have two kinds, black and white.
Right.
So that's what I really wanted to differentiate.
So it's not necessarily stealing, because, you have the good guys who are in there, and you can be a good guy hacker type of thing because you're looking for vulnerabilities in order to help your company or another company. Even there's people that do that actually somewhat for a living, is they can go in and try to hack into a place and then let the company know that, hey, here's a problem I found. And in many cases, they were given rewards for that. They can actually get paid for finding these vulnerabilities before the bad guys find the vulnerabilities.
And those are the white hat hackers.
Yeah, the good guys,
The
white
good guys,
hats,
white
and then
hats,
the black
okay.
hats often. That's just a term that's often used. There are also bad actors and things like that. There's a variety of slang kind of terms to use them. But you got your good guys and your bad guys, like in anything.
See, I thought just hacker was kind of meant for just bad, like malicious people who are just trying to hack. But now I know that good and bad hackers.
Yeah, because typically that's what we're hearing. You don't hear about the good guys, just like any
Right.
other thing. You don't hear about those that are working to keep us safe. And those are the members of ISC Squared. They're the good guys who are working with companies and governments and developers to try to make sure that safety is built in, that it's a priority into the programs that are being done in order to keep the bad guys out.
So, what are some of the programs that you guys kind of push forward to help with safety and to help teach people?
Yeah, with the Center for Cyber Safety and Education, that's what we really focus on. We're a not-for-profit, and so we're not into the cybersecurity aspect of it that the ISC Squared people are doing. We're working on trying to educate the general public. We're trying to get you and me and everybody else and our moms and our grandmas and our children, stop opening up some of those emails. Do better passwords. Make sure that you're keeping your private information private. And people just don't realize it. And we're dealing with so many different, literally generational differences. The kids today, they're growing up with these things. I mean, you see it. You walk through the park or the mall, you got kids in strollers who are carrying a phone or have an iPad and they're playing games on it. They are totally comfortable with it. They don't know that there's dangers. I often look at it, it's like if you grew up with a pool in your backyard, you probably know how to swim. You're not afraid of water. But if you didn't, you might be. And that's what we have with the older generation, and not even old, just the next generation, that we didn't grow up with all of this. And so it's new to us, and it'll often frighten us. Or we don't do anything about it because we don't know anything about it.
Right, it's more ignorance.
Our kids
right.
know more about it than we do, and so we just kind of let them do their own thing. And that's part of what we're trying to do, is we're trying to teach kids to fear it a little bit, to an extent. You need to be afraid of water, even if you know how to swim. And we're trying to make sure that they can do that at the same time, working with parents and senior citizens to try to teach them what they should be doing for their family, and at the same time what they themselves should be doing.
And you hit it right on the head. You said that they're the ones who are now the experts in terms of technology and iPads and everything. So how do you guys gear it towards them to make it interesting, to make it fun for them to learn about safety, about cyber safety, something that they might not even really think about.
Right,
Probably
yeah.
don't even think about.
No, they don't think about
Yeah.
it. You're absolutely right, and that's it. And so that's part of what we're really excited is that we just launched a program with Jim Davis, who may not recognize the name, but you know his cat, Garfield. Jim has just been awesome, and we have created new programs for children that features Garfield. We have cartoons, comic books, posters, stickers, trading cards. The first lesson has just come out, and another one will be out in January, another one in April. We're just going to keep cranking these things out, all dealing with different issues: privacy, posting things, cyberbullying. We're going to take on all the different things, but using Garfield, where Garfield can get to the kids. The kids can understand Garfield. They love Garfield. They'll watch a Garfield cartoon for 15 minutes before they would want to listen to you and I stand up in front of the classroom and talk to them about some strange thing. Garfield makes it Garfield, and the fun of it, and he's always eating and burping and all the things that we grew up with Garfield doing. The kids love that, so it gets the message through to them that way. We're really excited about it.
And real quick, so you guys did a study in partnership with Booz Allen Hamilton, and it revealed that 30% of elementary and middle school students reported texting a stranger from their phone.
Yeah.
And that's pretty alarming. I mean, 30%, and then of course, it breaks down, and then it even says that 6% actually gave their home address.
Yeah, it's frightening stuff.
That's
really
very
is.
frightening. Yeah.
And that's it. They're not afraid of it. They don't know the dangers in that. They think that is their friend, and it's actually kind of interesting because the big poster and the theme of our first Garfield cartoon and everything is online friends are not the same as real friends. You can have friends online, but they're still not the same. They're not going to come over when you fall off your bike or if you're sick and things like that. But they don't distinguish between the two. And so they're chatting with somebody online, playing a game, because the games are all now interacted together and you're chatting with somebody. They become friends. They have this common bond like you would do with your own friends in the backyard. They have that bond with them, and so they trust them, and they give them out way too much information. And as we know, that may not even be a kid.
Yeah, that's what my next question was going to be. I mean, what is the age of these strangers? We don't really know, and they could be, and again, I mean, it's stranger, so it could be a friend, it could be, but again, you never know. Like you're saying, it could be also a 40-year-old man on the other side.
Exactly, and ironically, that is one of the big issues that we touch on in our first Garfield cartoon, where we're talking about. Most of the time we're talking about privacy and not posting personal information online, but we mix in actually a little stranger danger. I don't want to do a spoiler alert,
right.
But because it's literally at the very end, it's a spoiler. But we try to mix some of that in there. There's a variety of lessons in those as well, because again, the kids are not fearing it and they don't know. They trust people. And that's how we try to raise them. To trust people. You don't want everybody to be skeptical about everything, but sometimes they got to be careful.
And so if the message just really isn't hitting through maybe to the kid or is there something that kind of helps the parents kind of make it easier to teach the kid? I mean, obviously through Garfield and stuff, but is there something directed towards the parents that they could kind of help with their kids? Or?
Yeah, we've put together programs for parents, actually, that we have a program for them that doesn't deal with us as adults. It's not talking about online banking and stuff like that, but it's geared towards protecting your family. One of the things that study also showed was that 90% of the kids have a device in their room at night. So, and what's really interesting, and even the numbers that you talk about with the number that are contacting strangers, this study was done on elementary school kids.
That's not even high school.
Right.
That's yeah.
Yeah, so that's high school kid. You might say, yeah, I could maybe get that, but when you're talking about elementary school kids, that's a very different type of thing. But 90% of them have a device in their room at night, and so what happens at night is that they will turn around and be getting messages. Somebody will be communicating with them, or they're on it, and they're up too late at night now. And so they're up past 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night that these kids are online not doing homework, which then in turn makes them tired the next day when they're going to school. Kids have actually reported to us that they've missed school purely because they were tired from being up too late on the internet. Again, elementary school kids, not high school kids missing school. Elementary school kids, because they're missing stuff.
And so the parents can use the Garfield tool, as you're saying, and I talked to a bunch of parents after we record the first session, and a lot of them were telling me that they feel the blame is on them, and I tell them that it's not their fault. Like you said, a lot of them have their devices, and they're trying to please their kids and give them everything. But what are some of the tips that you could give the parents that are not really that are harder more on themselves, and they really are the one, like, because you're saying don't let them have their devices at night and things like that. But what are some other tips? Should they you not give out their information online? Obviously, you should change your passwords so people don't really know your passwords.
It comes down to just doing some of those basic types of things and communicating with them. I always encourage people that if your kid's on Facebook, you should be on Facebook. Not to stalk them, but they know you're there, and they're going to think twice maybe before they post something that they shouldn't. But it's going through, and again, we have the materials on our website, safeandsecureonline.org is our site, and you can go on there and be able to learn some of the different things. So passwords you mentioned, obviously a great thing. We've got to start teaching them young to create more challenging passwords, but we need to do it as well. We all have the habit, I keep saying we as parents and all that we're posting on Facebook and stuff where we are. Oh, we're at the concert. Oh, we're on vacation. and the kids don't need to be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that anyway as an adult, because you're opening yourself up to somebody break into your home. They know you're not home, that type of thing. Geotagging is a big one that we really encourage parents to use. Take the phones and turn off the geotagging for the photos, not for the whole phone, just for the photos. Because people don't realize, but a photo that you post somewhere has coding in it that you can see, and it gives the actual GPS coordinates of where it was taken. So after a period of time, a predator could be looking at your photos and realize, oh, Johnny's practice is at this park every Tuesday at 2:00. They can figure out where they go to school, things like that, purely by looking at a photo that may not have a picture of anything in it, but it shows the geotagging in it. And so we encourage people to turn off the geotagging.
And then of course, also with emails and email links, don't click anything that's, because that's another thing. We invite a lot of hackers ourselves, not knowingly, obviously, but a lot of hacks, is that fair to say,
Yes.
are we invite them into?
Yeah, that's the most common way that they're getting into our systems, is through a bogus email. And this time of year is really a big time when people are ordering stuff,
of
and
course,
shipping stuff all online. I got a note the other day, personally myself. I got a note from Amazon about a package delivery. And I looked at it close enough to realize that wasn't from Amazon. Somebody was spoofing it and created a fake email to Amazon to try to get me to click on it in order to fill out a form that they were having trouble delivering my package. And I didn't know, had somebody sent me a package? And so normally a person would have clicked on that and realized that then they fill out all this information, and they are literally giving them, one, all the information, and two, potentially giving them control of your computer. They are now into your computer, and they have ability to take control of it, which again, back to children, becomes a very dangerous thing, because if they have their stuff in their room, if they have a laptop in their room, they can turn the cameras on. And that's a problem that you have, that they literally could be watching your children in your room. And so that's a whole nother good reason to keep those turned off. Have stickers over the cameras on your phones and on your laptops and tablets.
So a lot of people are worried. I'm going to completely shift gears here now. I'm going crazy. And a lot of people are worried about kind of World War III happening, and kind of like, oh man, we're worried about nukes being dropped and everything. But I'm worried with kind of the increase in popularity of Bitcoin and cybersecurity firms and everything kind of just going digital. Can you say that we should be more worried about cyber warfare and everything else than maybe real war? I mean, dropping bombs and things. Is that more of a threat right now?
I think it's going to be more devastating, and it'll reach a bigger population. The chances of us having a bomb dropped on us right here where we sit are much slimmer than the chances of having somebody take out the power grid, to be hacking and shutting down the internet and how we develop upon it, turning off traffic lights and everything else, is much more realistic for us as a general population of that happening versus a physical war. Yes, we have terrorists, and you don't know where it's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
But even them, they're on cyber
and that's
cyber warfare as well.
Exactly, that's part of how they're all communicating and everything. So yeah, it's a very different world, and part of why we have to constantly be vigilant about what we're doing and not being a part of it. There was the big hack just I guess probably a month or so ago, that where they literally were shutting down Twitters and affecting all those sort of things, and they were getting into stuff through the Internet of Things, through people's garage door openers and refrigerators. All these things are now connected to the internet, and they're connected to Wi-Fi, and that's access points that they have.
And I love that you brought that up, because, for example, the Yahoo, where they just the 500 million accounts that were hacked and stuff. See, that frustrates me, for example, and other people, where I try and be as safe as I can online and everything, but if something like that happens, you can't even control that. Right. So how can you mitigate, at least your chances of not being, I mean, you can't, I feel like you can't even mitigate, because the chances of you being hacked by like a third party source could happen at any time, and then you know, valuable information, passwords and everything are just out there.
Yeah, and it becomes it can be very depressing because we're all connected now, and we use our phones, we carry them with them all the time. Everything we do is done that way, and the big things, the advice we always give people is back to the basics. It's your password. You should be constantly changing it, and especially after there's been a breach like that, definitely be changing it. But even then, I mean, we're finding out about breach that happened years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like too late if you haven't changed it now, that it's already been done. And that's, you know, you can always put blame on the companies for maybe not releasing that information, but also too, they a lot of times don't know. I mean, it takes work to find out that even something like that has happened. You have to think about, it's all code, it's all numbers and symbols and things like that. That's you know, piles and piles and piles of that make a website run. And to find the little hole that, you know, somewhere that there was a problem can take time. And so it falls back to them as well as it does just the reality of what we're dealing with. But getting back to the basics of changing our passwords, making them difficult passwords, it's still so frightening. Every year you always hear the study. Password is the number one password, you know, and now it's because you have to use numbers. It's pass2123, you know. Well, that's no better. Think about it. If you get 1 million of them hacked and half of the people are still using password, those are the ones that are going to get busted quick. They'll do those fast. You know, if yours is a little more difficult and a little more challenging, you're going to be further down the list by the time they even get to you. And if you're changing it on a regular basis, by the time they got to you anyway, you've already changed it. And so it doesn't matter. So that's the best advice we can have. You can't stop using it. It doesn't work today. The world's just connected. And I know a lot of people will say that, you know, I just don't even use the internet. Well, that's okay. You're missing out on a lot, though.
Yeah.
But you just need to be smart about it, and it starts all the way back to the passwords and making them more challenging.
So would you say the biggest challenge for the center, for example, would it be just the constant change of technology and just the fact that they're getting better at always kind of just staying ahead of the game and being ahead of the curve? Is that the biggest challenge?
Actually, I don't worry about that too much, because we'll never keep up with it. We're always going to be behind. And so what we try to teach people are basic principles, and not worry about Facebook and Snapchat and whatever the new one will be next year. There's going to be something different that's going to be hot. And so we don't focus on that. But if you're keeping your private information private and you're not putting it all out there, that you're using good, strong passwords, you're doing these types of things, no matter what the platform is, you're going to be in better shape. And so that's the kind of stuff we're trying to teach the kids as well, is it doesn't matter what platform. If you're on Facebook, if you're on MySpace, if you're flashback there, and you know, things like that, that you're if you're using good common sense safety practices, it doesn't matter, because there'll be something new. And even the materials that we're developing, you know, a lot of effort and that goes into these Garfield cartoons. Well, these are not something you can just easily change. So they need to have a long shelf life. So we don't deal with specific products or apps, because they could be gone in 2 years and they'll be replaced by something else that's hot. Now all the investment we've made into the materials is useless, because you know, kids would laugh at it. Oh, that's funny. Facebook, what was that? You know, my parents did that. You know, that's old school kind of thing, because there's something new and different. And so we just try to focus on the basic safety and not overly think the apps, because by the time we did something, a new one would be out anyway.
So again, I'm gonna just change it up again, and I'm not gonna lie, when I was in college and trying to decide what I wanted to do, I didn't even know about director of cybersecurity and everything. Ignorant me, I should have known. But just how did you get to where you are?
Actually, it's kind of interesting, because I I am not from the cybersecurity background. My background actually is I was an executive for the Boy Scouts for 24 years. I come more from the nonprofit side and the educational side of working with children, and that's what attracted me to this opportunity to work with what was then the ISC Squared Foundation and now the Center for Cyber Safety and Education. Was a chance to continue working with people and trying to help make it a better world, a safer world. I've done that in my other career positions, and now it's this opportunity. So a lot of it I'm learning just like everybody else, which I think gives me a good perspective, because I'm not coming from it from the technical standpoint. I'm hopefully able to communicate with people and put together materials for people such as the Garfield or the parents, or even the materials we have for senior citizens, by being able to look at it from somebody as a normal everyday person, everyday Joe kind of thing, and be able to explain it in those kinds of terms and make sure that we're thinking in that way and not getting too technical, which, to be honest, I think was one of our challenges previously, was that we were getting too technical on stuff. And I was like, we don't need to be in a presentation but necessarily be telling people how to turn off the geotagging on their phone, because there's so many different phones and different ways to do it and different editions, and that we could take up the whole 45-minute presentation to a group of parents just on one issue. We just need to alert them to that, and that they need to do it, and get on YouTube and watch a video of how to do it. Contact your Sprint or Horizon or whoever it might be, or if all else fails, ask your child, because they'll probably be able to help you set it up.
And and so, I mean, not all nonprofits are the same, obviously. Just like one company's different from another. So what are just some differences that you've noticed coming into the center?
What's really different, a couple of things. One, we're global, that we're reaching out around the world. Our Garfield program, again, is already being spread around the world. Our other programs already were. The Parents program and Senior were being used. But the Garfield, we have a project going on in Kuwait right now. And we're in conversations with other countries, other companies that want to take it, actual businesses that want to take it and do sort of an employee day kind of thing, going out to the schools and putting on educational programs. So it's a very vast reach that we have. And we're not your typical not-for-profit from the standpoint as I don't have local volunteers. We do, but if I was with the Big Brothers Big Sisters, or with Boys and Girls Club, or the Y, or the Boy Scouts, I've got thousands of volunteers right in my own backyard that are doing things, raising money for us, actually out delivering the program, and we don't have that kind of structure because we're all over the country, and so we were reaching out to people in a different way. But we still have the same challenges that other not-for-profits, as we are a not-for-profit, so we have to raise money. So we're always looking for help and support from people to individually give, or we have sponsorship opportunities for corporations now that can get involved with us and help us in spreading the word. I mentioned that some companies are looking at doing it as a community service project. We got companies that are coming on board financially to help us support it so we can continue to create the materials. So we have a real similarity from a typical one like that, but delivering of the program is very different. I don't have local volunteer scout leaders who are stand at the ready to go work with the kids. We have to reach out, and so we're reaching out in a different way. Well, the materials we put together, we have them that anybody can do it. You don't have to be a trained cybersecurity professional to go talk to a group of parents about the safety tips, because we've put it together in a format and scripted it that you're able to do it and follow the script, because it's not technical anymore. It's teaching basic things that a lot of them are like light bulb moments. You're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that, or I didn't know that about geotagging, or I never thought about my kids having their device in their room. What can I do about that? And we say, create a charging station. And it's kind of funny because I've been at the store and I've seen people you can buy a charging station that, you can plug in 4 or 5 devices at once and it charges them. And we encourage them to do that and put it in the kitchen. It's on the kitchen counter or whatever. And when everybody leaves for school and work in the morning, They can grab it, it's charged, and off they go, but it's out of the bedroom at night. But you don't have to go buy anything. You can use an extension cord, a surge protector kind of thing that you can plug in 5 or 6 different things. As simple as that. So it's providing tips like that, and the parents are like, oh my gosh, yeah, that makes total sense. That's really simple. You didn't have to be a cybersecurity professional to be able to communicate that with them.
And you didn't have to spend all that extra money on a charging station.
Exactly.
And so is your team, you're saying, so your team is just a bunch of, I don't want to say Joe Schmoes, but just, everyday people, not programmers is what I'm trying to get. It's not, they're not hardcore coders is what it is.
No, because what we do is we turn then to ISC Squared. And the members of ISC Squared, again, the best cybersecurity professionals in the world, we're turning to them saying, okay, here's the issue. What would you do as a cybersecurity professional? What would you even do as a parent who's also a cybersecurity professional? What's your advice? What do you do? How do you teach your kids? What are the tips that you're giving? What are the lessons that you've learned? And when we take that from them and then, I don't want to say, dumb it down, but we take it down to the level then we as parents and as adults or children or senior citizens can better understand it. And then you can go to our website, again, safeandsecureonline.org. You can go onto that site, and there's a lot of the materials on there for free that you can go, you can watch it, you can read it. We're constantly putting up new and different materials, and there's Garfield material on there that you can do for free. There's an online interactive cartoon. There's a comic book that's a flip book. There's also material that you can order for your classroom that has posters and stickers and comic books for all the kids, that type of thing that a parent can order, a teacher can order, a school can order those. There is a little cost to those, trying to recoup our cost. It's not a fundraiser for us. We're just trying to help pass on the cost in order to print and produce all these different materials. But there's stuff on there for senior citizens, there's stuff on there for parents, there's tip sheets, and those are constantly being changed and updated. And we're working to be putting it in different languages as well. So that we'll have it available in a variety of different languages as we go forward, as the funds become available for it, and as or corporations step up. I mentioned that we're piloting a program in Kuwait right now. It's really going well. We're just doing the English version to the kids in the schools that are speaking English, but they're really liking it and are looking to expand that program. But they're also entertaining the option of providing funding that we can put it in Arabic, and which then opens up the whole Middle East for us, of being able to communicate these same messages to children around the world. And that's what we're talking with literally governments in other countries about, putting it in their native languages, about them helping and supporting us and getting it distributed to the children and to the parents. Again, we're going to put everything in different languages.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, that's one of the things that Garfield helps us with. Garfield's global. He's still one of the most popular comic strips out there. 200 million readers a day to the Garfield comic strips. There's the movies, the cartoons. We often think
he's everyone's favorite cat.
Yeah, but we often think, that was when I was a kid. Garfield was popular. No, he's still popular. And what makes it great for us is that he is international already. He's already an international celebrity. So kids know who he is, and it makes it a little bit easier for us that if we take him to another country and put him in another language, all we have to do is really put him in another language, because we don't have to change Garfield. He doesn't have a certain dress. He doesn't wear certain head garments, or he's a certain religion or anything like that. Cultural stuff is gone. He's just the same orange fat cat that everywhere we go, he just would be speaking a different language. And so we would have a French-speaking Garfield, or a German, or an Arabic, or a Portuguese, or whatever, speaking Garfield, so that the children are getting him in his native language. We're committed to not, just subtitling it and things like that, because a lot of this, we're talking first, second, third graders who can't read yet, much less read at a pace of a cartoon.
Right.
If anybody's ever tried to do the closed caption on watching the news at night, you can't keep up. So we're really committed to trying to make sure that as we expand it, that we do it right, and that it's able to help the children around the world.
Wow. Last question, Pat, about you. So what trait or what characteristic do you have that has gotten you this far, and what do you think is important to have as a director?
I guess a couple of things. One is creativity of trying to think out of the box and then delivering our program so that we can reach children, and Garfield was a part of that. That's a very different approach than a PowerPoint presentation or just a speaker coming up in front. So we're real excited about that, and I guess the biggest thing is just the commitment of being dedicated to this. I get excited about it because I think we really can make a difference, because everybody you talk to a parent, talk to a teacher, talk to other kids, it's a major concern. You talked about warfare, that's pretty big talk when you talk about those kinds of things, but take that down to the purely a child abduction, of keeping a child from being abducted or being bullied online. When we grew up, bullies were on the playground at school, kind of thing. There was kids at school, but then you went home and you didn't have to deal with them until the next day, which was frightening enough at that point in time. Well, now those bully follows you home, and they come home with you, and it's not just one or two kids who think they're tough stuff. It could be 50 kids, 100 kids, all piling on.
And now with the anonymity too,
exactly.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Yeah, because they think they're really something because you don't know who they are, but you're able to figure that out. And that's a big issue. It's one of the top issues that we deal with, and that I know parents are dealing with and they're afraid of, and it's something that we have to work with the children. That they, the big thing is children need to report it. They need to talk to somebody. They need to talk to a school teacher, a parent, some trusted adult, and let them know. And they need to take action. It's not something to just say, well, brush it off, or just ignore them.
Kids will be kids, right? Yeah, you can't just say that.
You can't ignore them anymore. You could maybe ignore them before because you didn't have to go play with them on the playground. But now they're telling your friends stuff, and they're posting things about you, and that actually is going to be one of the Garfield ones coming up, and the one in April kind of begins to deal with that issue of posting things online that were offensive to some people. And in the storyline that we're using, it's sort of an accidental. Even he didn't mean to be mean. He posted a funny picture. Normal posts a funny picture of Otto the octopus, and he thinks it's funny, but then all of a sudden people start piling on and saying mean things about it, and it really hurts Otto's feelings, and that's kind of the storyline that we deal with in one of the future episodes we have coming up.
Nice sneak peek.
A little bit
here on School Me.
We'll tease.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Pat, for coming. Over here to my house and doing the interview. I really appreciate it. Especially, I know it's been a long day for you.
It's been a great day. We're really excited about everything we're doing, and we really appreciate the support that we're getting to get the word out. And if, again, people go to safeandsecureonline.org, they'll be able to see a lot of the different materials and learn about us, and find out how they can get involved, whether they can financially help us or volunteer. We're looking for people to help us get the word out, and to go volunteer and speak to a school group or a parents group, or even with the senior citizens, a very vulnerable group that has a lot of concern because they really know nothing about the internet, and they're opening up these emails and from their bank, and typing in their social security numbers and giving them all their personal information, and because they're more trusting than any of us. And so we've really got to work to help communicate with them.
Yeah, so guys, however you can help, just go safeandsecure.org.
Safeandsecureonline.org.
There you go. Again, thank you again, Pat. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Look forward to coming back.
Thank you. Yeah, so I hope this episode added to your list of resolutions and not conflicts or issues of 2017, because Pat really was trying to give us some tips on how to prevent those pesky hackers from getting into our world. And it's funny how we really do give out most of our information either on purpose or not doing so on purpose, just by clicking on a link that we didn't mean to, or by submitting a survey even though we didn't mean to. I can't say I've done that once or twice. Luckily I haven't been hacked. But I just wanted to touch up on something that I don't think we really emphasize as much as we should have in that study that they they found that 30% of elementary and middle school students reported texting a stranger from their phone. And that's pretty scary because that's elementary, 30% of elementary school kids. So I can't even imagine what high school kids are doing. And I don't even want to speculate on that number because I know I'll be totally wrong. But also Pat was telling me about this new thing called ransomware, where I don't even want to get too much into detail because I got some information on a next guest that I want to bring on that can talk more about that. But just know that hackers are getting so sneaky that they could literally take control of your computer and then sell it back to you. Yeah, and they're doing that not only to just people, they're doing that to businesses too and charging big bucks. So I really want to get up on that. But just to give you a little hint on my next guest, health is going to be the next issue that I tackle. So I hope you listen on to that one. And of course, write me your comments, email me, whatever you want to do. Just let me know how everything's going, maybe how your 2017, how you brought it in, how it's been going so far. And again, yeah, I just hope you find your passion, pursue it, and peace.